Welcome to the latest printed press. I'm Aysen Djemal, bringing you the latest news from the UK and the world. First, the headlines. Jess Phillips MP warned to be afraid in death threats after her office was attacked. Gatwick shut down. The people who used 2 drones to disrupt flights had detailed knowledge of the airport. Melissa Tate, a girl at the age of 10 who died after suspected hit and run in Newcastle, is named by the police. And finally, Prince Harry retraces his mother's, Diana's, footsteps at Angolia landmine fields. And now, coming back to our programme today, I'm really fortunate to have 2 amazing guests today. CORINNE TUDDENHAM-FINN, a fashion editor, journalist, catwalk model, national editorial, fashion and beauty contributor. Welcome, CORINNE.
To you.
And also Shane, who is a professional commercial fashion photographer, internationally published and worked on all over the world. Welcome. Hello. Shane. Hello. Hello. It's really lovely to have you here today in our programme. Going back to our last headline, Meghan on tour, that's been all over the news of late. It's obviously a very big story. What do we think about her fashion? Do you think she's peaked? Is she quite there yet? Or do you think there's room for improvement with her fashion trends?
Oh, Meghan, yeah, she's currently on tour in Africa.
Yes.
She's in South Africa at the minute.
Yes.
And I think the fashion has gone a little bit skewed to when we last saw her, because when we first saw Meghan, she was wearing some beautiful gowns, and they were from the top couture houses. But she's slightly changed her fashion now, because she's going out to a country that perhaps isn't as affluent as where she's been before. She's toned down her fashion, and she's now wearing things that could be in, say, £70 on our local high street in London. And of course, they're selling out. The moment she wears it, they sell out. She's toned everything down, even to the point where she's taken her engagement ring off yesterday, because she didn't want to appear as being too brazen. But she's got to be a little bit careful, because if we look back in time and we look at, say, the Queen when she went out to the United States, the Americans just imagined that the Queen or a princess would be walking around in a crown or a tiara or something like that. So of course when the Queen dropped that and didn't wear it, they were so disappointed, because they wanted to see a queen with all her finery. And I think this is where Meghan's got to be a little bit careful, because the people in Africa are expecting to see a princess. Even though she's a duchess, they want to see a princess, and if you go a little bit too low-key, it can be a little bit of a disappointment.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you. I think she's looking beautiful, but I think she's not quite at the level that she needs to be at.
Yeah.
Right, we're going to move on now to other fashion news. We've got 2 headlines. Landlords vote to approve rescue plans for Topshop owner, billionaire Sir Philip Green's fashion chains, including Topshop, have averted collapse after landlords voted in favour of a rescue deal to reduce rents and close stores. Also, Rihanna and LVMH confirm fashion label. The pop superstar will present her first fashion collection for the French luxury giant later this month in Paris. Right, so if we talk a little bit about the Topshop headline, first of all, CORINNE, would you be able to explain to us what this means? What's actually going on with this?
Yes, what's happened is that Arcadia Group, who own 7 of the big top shops that we have, including Topshop in the UK, they have Topshop, Topman, Burton, Dorothy Perkins, Miss Selfridge, Wallace and Evans. So they're the 7 shops that are under the Arcadia brand, and they have been struggling a lot. And they've entered into what's called a CVA, which is called a company voluntary arrangement. And what that means is that we think on this occasion 75% of the creditors, the people that they owe money to, have said that it is absolutely fine if they continue trading, but they pay back little pieces of money along the way, rather than say a business saying, well, I want all of my money now, you shut the whole lot down. They have had closures. They've closed 48 stores.
That's a lot.
That is to keep going with.
To keep going.
But they've had rent reductions, and this is where it's come in, rent reductions. So the landlords have said, we will allow you to negotiate on your rents, and that is a big thing on the high street at the minute, isn't it? It's your business.
I mean, Shay's got experience of that.
Yeah, I've had that experience in the past. But I think it's just a common sense at last. I mean, I've worked all over this country, and I see shopping malls sometimes. Actually, the landlords charge, and it's extortionate. And I don't know how on earth some of the businesses actually run. It's a ridiculous amount of money. And sometimes it's actually geared to how much the footage is, and they take a cut of your profits each month, which is like another sort of thing that's like another hammer blow to business, because it's tough out there at the minute. And basically, I think, yes, at last, I think lowering this will actually give up some breathing space, especially with the Brexit going on at the minute.
That's right.
And I think that sort of could secure a lot more businesses rather than just pull the rug and that's it.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good move.
It sort of leads me on to the next thing, which is obviously online shopping is a huge thing, and in a sense that has affected the high street.
Oh, yes.
But what do we think about that online versus the shops? I mean, that seems to be something that's quite at the forefront. Topshop have done something quite interesting, haven't they?
They have, yes. So that's their biggest threat. Any high street store, that is the biggest threat, that you're going to have online retailers that are going to swipe your customers away, which is all very well, but it means that some customers feel that they actually want to pick something up, feel it, try on shoes, try on clothes, and if it doesn't fit, you put it back on the rail. Whereas with it's online, you've got all of that hullabaloo of trying to get the clothing back to the shop again. But what Topshop have done is they're trying to encourage people to interact more, because shops tended to be just on the high street. You'd go in, you'd pick your clothes up. If you wanted it, you'd take immersive experience. So we can see this on Topshop Oxford Street store. So it's called the TSTMX, and it looks like a very big car wash in the window, and they're encouraging customers to come in and actually feel, but the biggest thing that they're asking people to do is to take pictures. So this is where we're getting the online.
Oh, there we are. Where are those up on the screen? Yes, there.
Where
it looks
those
amazing.
It is,
doesn't it? It's very eye-catchy.
So I think what you can actually do with that is you can actually walk into the shop windows, but you're going to take a picture. And where do we all like putting pictures? We like putting our pictures online. So this is where they're going to be making that little loop and try and encourage business back through there. But it's a good idea. We'll be interested to see how it works.
I personally, when online became all the rave, I did really enjoy, because you just have that choice, and you can literally tap in, I want a red dress, one shoulder off the shoulder with a bow on the left, and you'd find there it is. But what I found was, like you said, the quality is not quite exactly, the material may not be what you want, and I've sort of reverted back to the good old fashioned going into the shop, trying it on, actually seeing it in real life. So hopefully there will be more people going back into our high street shops, because I do think that is a unique experience, and it's where the saying came, retail therapy.
Exactly, it does make you feel good. But if we take this back, say 10 years, the same thing was happening with the book industry. So everything they thought was going to go online, so all of the big bookshops started to close. But then they realised that people with a book, they actually like to pick it up, smell it, and feel, and take a book on holiday and lay on the beach and read a book. So it actually turned tables, and it absolutely hit them in the foot, and they realised then that they had to put the bookshops back on the high street again. So this is where the clothing shops have got to be a little bit careful if they push everything online, and they are being a little bit naughty, because they are putting some online special offers only that you
Yes.
can't go in the shop and buy. Oh, it's online only. You will start to turn people off. So they've got to get their marketing strategies right. Everything's got to be balanced before it actually falls into place and works.
Yeah, definitely.
It just goes in phases, really, isn't it?
It does.
I mean, personally for me, it's a bit different for guys anyway. You know, the whole retail thing. Sort of. But
Yeah, okay.
basically, I remember years ago, again, similar to you, when you had the online thing. Actually, it's the only way I'd shop. But actually, this season, I've actually gone out into the world more, and I've found more clothes than I ever thought actually weren't online. Especially the one if you go to the sale items, they can't catalogue absolutely everything to go online. I know Next do it huge. Some of these higher sort of big retailers do it, but you'll find gems out there you don't find online. And I thought that actually was impossible about a year ago, but actually this year I have actually.
Oh, that's great. Right, the next headline that we looked at was Rihanna and LVMH. Now, first of all, what does that stand for?
Yes,
That's quite
most of us
mouthful.
haven't heard of that
No.
brand at all. Well, it's like a top part of an umbrella of subsidiary companies underneath. So the LVMH, the LV is Louis Vuitton. Now we all know that brand. The M is Moet of Moet and Chandon Champagne. And the H is Hennessy. So that's the Hennessy of cognac. Hennessy cognac. So we've got this beautiful big luxury brand, and underneath it are names that we probably will recognise. So we've got Christian Dior, a part of them, Fendi, Givenchy, Kenzo, Benefit Cosmetics, and going into the men's, Bulgari, Hublot and Tag watches. They are all part of that group. And of course Rihanna has now joined the stable.
So what do we think about this collaboration? Do we think it's going to be good?
It will work. She's the first woman to have done it on her own with the brand. She is the first person on their own to have done it with the brand, but she brings a lot with her, and these days you've got to be bringing your Instagram followers, and how many did I count? I think it was 70 million followers she's got, so she's bringing that to the brand to add to the stable. But she's bringing accessories, she's bringing ready to wear. I think it's going to work. I think it's going to work.
I do think it's very important for, you know, these women in the limelight that have a lot of, you know, young girls following them. It's great to see them, you know, showing that they're these strong, powerful business women. They're collaborating with some of these massive companies. And I do think that's quite empowering to see, rather than
this is
just
the strand. This is the strand that's coming through with the first collection that she's done. It's called Fenty, by the way, which is actually her surname. So we're not going to see the Rihanna name, we're going to see the Fenty. But she has brought out a collection which is exactly as you say, it's designed to make women empowered. And when you look at the design, she's making them very sort of big butch business suit type. So that's what you're going to see, the big shoulders, and really making women empowerment come through with her clothes, and it will succeed because people are looking for that at the moment.
yes,
Power
I mean
Power dressing
Power
to the
dressing,
extreme.
yeah.
Yes.
I think, and that masculine, I think that's quite a trend at the moment, which now leads me on to our next thing, which is fashion trends versus old classics. We were having this conversation earlier on today. You know, do you follow a fashion trend, whatever's the latest look, or do you actually sort of go against the norm and have your own trend and, you know, have a few classics within your wardrobe?
Yes.
I don't know, what do you think about
Well, we
that?
see a lot of trends,
Shane?
don't we? Come and go.
Well, I'm getting to that age. I've seen lots of
We've seen lots
With the
and lots
photography.
come and
Yes.
go.
It's,
I mean, what are the latest trends with the photography? Is it sort of following the fashion trends?
Well,
or?
it's sort of, it is, but it's going down the influencer route, which that may or may not be sustainable. Well, which leads me on to the thing, sustainability is the big thing at the moment, to reuse and recycle clothes. But yeah, it's making an impact, but I think, again, I'll return to the same thing. I think it's a bit of a fashion stall at the minute, at this certain year, because the uncertainty in the climate, I think sometimes a lot of the money's been withdrawn out and people are holding before they push out with their fashion designs again. So I don't think you've got a maximum year for fashion at the moment. I think next year, after hopefully, if this is all sorted, 2020, I think you'll see a vast changes and movements again forward. So I think at the moment it's in stasis slightly, with the budgets have been slashed basically for advertising. So I think we're on, we're in that sort of thing where we're sort of stuck in a mire at the moment.
Yes.
Politically and everything else, but basically yes, it'll move forward again.
But it means that you can now venture back into your wardrobe again. Because fortunately, one of the big trends at the minute is 80s fashion, and we all have something in our wardrobe for 80s.
Even if we weren't even born in the 80s, I think everybody
but there are certain
can associate
things
themselves with it.
Never go away, and one of them is on your shoes. Leopard print. It's one. There we are. Leopard print. That never ever goes. Never goes. So it means that you can start to recycle. But we were saying about trends, and we were saying about following trends, and sometimes it's quite challenging when you want to follow a trend, but you are either not the right body shape for it. You're perhaps not the right age for it. I mean, if we take me for example. I'm an older woman, so if the trend is a short mini skirt, looks absolutely fabulous on a 16-year-old, 18-year-old, 21-year-old, but you put that on me,
it doesn't look fabulous, but I know what you're saying. You want to feel like you're age appropriate.
I've got long legs. I'm a catwalk model. I model, and my biggest asset are my legs. But that doesn't mean to say that I can wear mini skirts, because people take you as a whole. They look at you as a whole, and people would look at me and say, I'm sorry, you are an older woman, it doesn't quite look right. But all is not lost, because you will always have something that you will accentuate. It could be your hair, it could be your bust, it could be your legs, it could be anything. And a trend will come around that will fit you perfectly, that you can just slot into, and everybody says, well, that trend was made for you. You always wore those type of clothes, and now it's come back in, and there you are. I mean, it might be a lady's got some beautiful shoulders and can really show off a lovely top that's quite, not low cut, but shows a little bit more than we normally have. And she comes into her own, because that's her part. That's the part that people look at, and she just falls in perfectly. So all is not lost. You just got to keep an eye on your fashion and just slot in where it's appropriate.
Where it's appropriate for your body shape.
It's confidence, and like it's owning it. Well, if you're going to put it on and you love it, you just own that, own that space, and then basically that actually amplifies what you're wearing anyway, whatever sort of like level you want. So I think, it's confidence in yourself is a big thing.
It's a mindset, isn't it? I mean, I do feel like, we were recently talking about my personal experience with the photo shoot that we did. It's as you become more confident and in tune with yourself, and you accept yourself, then everything comes with it.
Things
then
come
you
alive.
become more beautiful. And once you know your body shape and you know what suits you, then whatever the trend is, you can slot in somehow. But certainly what you're saying, if you try and follow the trend every season, if you try and follow it exactly, it won't
You'll
quite
be out
tie
of pocket
in.
as
You'll
well.
be out of pocket.
You've just got to be brave, and actually when you see things on the hanger, it looks completely different on. It's that thing of, who cares? Go and try it on.
Again, going back to the high street, which is our original point, not just relying on the online. I mean, certainly we were talking about fashion trends, having old classics. What old classics would you recommend a woman should have in her wardrobe?
Oh, well, it's got to be the little black dress. The little black dress, it doesn't matter what body shape you are, a little black dress you can wear. And when I say little, I don't mean short.
Yes, right.
It is just a very plain black dress. Now, one day you could wear it, and you could wear it, say, with black stockings or tights underneath, which gives that lovely long look. But you could just literally pick something that will accentuate. So you could keep it very plain, but a lovely pair of shoes. Keep it very plain, keep the shoes plain, but a lovely piece of jewellery. Or your hair. There's got to be something that you can put onto that little, so that's got to be your base. Start your wardrobe off with a lovely little black dress. A classic coat, again, that never goes out of fashion. A lovely, say, trench coat, it's always here to stay.
Especially living in London as well, and the weather.
There we are. You need a go-to coat.
Then keep it in the boot of your car, I would say. Keep a jacket.
It's a good canvas to actually accentuate with like accessories, like gold. Obviously, gold goes with black very, very well. So anything against black will just show out, just shine really on the high street or wherever you're going in the evening or.
Well, we talk about something in London called a capsule wardrobe, which means a very small wardrobe, which probably is about 15 items that range from a couple of jackets, a plain white t-shirt, black jeans, blue jeans, a skirt, work trousers, perhaps something on trend, but not silly. I mean, when I say silly, we've got trends at the moment where we've got handbags that are about that big. Now, they look great on the catwalk, but you can't even put your phone in them, and your phone is roughly the smallest thing that you would have in your handbag. You can't even use that. And when we go to the other extreme, which is one of the trends at the moment, which is, they call it a clutch bag, but it looks like a pillow. It's that big. It is enormous. So if suddenly your phone rings, you're almost diving in your bag to try and find it. So you've got to be sensible, because you're not going to use the tiny bag again, and you're not going to use the big. It's a waste of money. It really is. So it's got to be things that you can mix and match in your wardrobe. So when it comes to, say, going to the sales, you can go through your wardrobe and think, I've never worn those pair of trousers. I need a nice top to go with the trousers. Then you are going to the sales with something in mind, and you're not just looking at the cheapest thing, because you won't wear it again if it's that cheap. There's a reason why it's so cheap and it's still sitting there. But to home in on something like that, and to just literally key your pieces of wardrobe together, and it should be, rule of thumb, round about 15 pieces that you can just slot together. People say, well, I've never seen you wear that before, and you'll say, I did actually wear that a couple of weeks ago, but not with that top. It was the same trousers, it was the same shoes, it was the same jacket, different top,
combination.
Looks totally different.
I normally have this rule where I think to myself, if I'm exposing my shoulders, then I won't expose my legs. If I'm exposing my legs, so even with my dress code, I try and balance it out. But certainly having those classic things like a winter coat, black trousers, a black dress that you can accessorise. And I do find what's really, really important is, like you said, if you're going to have a wild item in your closet, it shouldn't be something very big. It should maybe be like jewellery or a headpiece or something small that you can feel comfortable using again and again and again.
That's right.
But going back to that point of following trends and, you know, having old classics in your wardrobe, you were giving me an example earlier about how you said you went somewhere and they said, oh, where have you got that? And you would say, I mean, should we talk about that? Like, which one's more useful, do you think? So, you know, picking up something up every single month, or actually looking back at your wardrobe and analysing what you have? Because I found it very interesting what you said when you said, don't go out to the sales without a thought in your mind, because you'll end up buying something that you'll never ever use.
That's right.
Actually look at your wardrobe. So is that what you would recommend we do?
Yes, we very much go down what we would call the king's new clothes, where we follow everybody else. And that's where trends happen, and that's where they make the money, because they know that people are just going to follow the trend, and everybody's going to buy what they see in the magazine, and there we are, quids in, we know we're going to win. But when you're at the other side and you're actually wearing it, sometimes when you've got these classic pieces and you're not following the trend, you are wearing something, and you have to listen to what other people tell you as well. If people are complimenting you a lot on a particular item of clothing, it means you've got it absolutely right. Keep it as a key piece in your wardrobe. But it's nothing nicer than for somebody to say, oh, I do like that jacket. And you turn around and say, yes, I've had it for years, it's a classic. Where can I buy it? I'm afraid you can't buy it because that was 10 years ago. And then everybody in that room wants that jacket, and we can't have it because it's gone. Now that has knocked the trend on the head, because somebody could be standing there with something that's on trend for the year, but people aren't looking, not interested, because it's okay, I couldn't wear that, but that jacket, that looks absolutely fabulous and I can't have it. And you can bring it out time and time again. So don't get drawn on the trend items. Keep your key things that you know look good, that are comfortable, that you can really accessorise with, and don't be afraid to say, I'm not going to throw that away because I actually do look very good in that.
I think it is important, isn't it? It's not just about, I mean, you can read up in the latest magazines, on the news, what the fashion trends are, but
Yes.
at the end of it, you have to form your own opinion
Oh, yes.
about these things.
Well, this is where a good photographer's eye comes in.
Yeah.
The times that we've had models turn up and they said, I've picked this, I think this is great, and we've had to calm them down and
It's
say
sort of rein it in. Yeah,
it doesn't
sometimes,
quite
again,
suit
it's the
your body.
influencer thing sometimes.
It
We get
is.
influencer models turn up.
People
and,
get brainwashed.
So I've got all these
yes.
clothes just given to me,
Yeah.
and I'm thinking, you know, I'm having to say, well, we'll shoot these, but actually they don't really suit you or your body. I don't say this to them because it's not a very nice thing to say.
Yeah,
to
tell
them.
us, how would
professional
you,
to
how
say
would
it,
you
but
go
it's-
around a situation like that? What
Well,
would you
I've
do?
actually, in my years of experience, yeah, I sort of gently say, well, I'm shooting this at every angle. I don't know, I think it just doesn't work today. Perhaps it's just me, but basically,
You tend to blame yourself a lot.
yeah,
don't you?
I
So perhaps
do,
it's
but I was
me.
just being kind. It's just me being me, I'm afraid. Other photographers might just say, look, it
Yes,
doesn't
and
work.
this is where the modelling
Yeah.
industry gets its bad name,
Yeah.
especially with photographers, because they can be quite rude throughout the
Oh,
modelling
yeah, I'm never
industry.
rude.
Rudeness, and it's
No.
not really rudeness; it's just getting
No.
to the point.
Well, it's all
It
about
feels quite
confidence, isn't it?
personal,
Yeah, it's
doesn't it?
confidence in people.
Because
You
you're
can just-
talking
yeah.
about that person.
Well,
So
you can
I
just-
think the
yeah.
language that you're using, you're sort of removing it from them.
Yeah.
You're taking the responsibility
Yeah,
of
yourself.
them, and you're saying, "Oh, it's
You can
me."
destroy somebody very easily like that. You know, if they want to get somewhere modelling and they're a sort of medium level model, and if they only have about 2 or 3 photographers that keep saying that to them, they might give up, or you know, other things might come through it where they just get some complex. So, no, it's all about installing. Again, it's the same vein running through where it's confidence with people, and that's what I try and do every time I shoot anybody, commercially, corporate, fashion. The model has to be in a nice place. Otherwise, the shoot won't look right. It will just won't. You can tell in the eyes straight away, body language. It's like sometimes you'll do stuff and it won't work, like pose-wise, and because I sort of teach models like how to pose correctly, and sometimes I'll get surprised. I'll just come out of something and go, wow, that's amazing. But then that's after a few hours where they're confident. You won't ever get. There's hardly any model on this planet within 10 minutes will pose properly or be confident enough. I'll tell you this now. It is the thing that when you get into a zone, then it just comes out, and then you install more confidence. Somebody saying, yes, that's correct. Sometimes things don't work, but we don't make a fuss about it. It's just exactly the same as fashion, isn't it? Some
Yes.
things won't work.
No,
Some things will.
that's right.
Just don't make a big deal about it.
Yes.
It's only clothes at the end of the day, isn't
That's
it?
right.
Honestly,
Yes.
you know, it's not.
It's
anything
meant
big
to
else.
make us feel good. It's an
Yeah.
accessory
So,
upon
yeah.
us, I guess. So.
Yes.
It's for selling that to somebody else who wants the same thing as the person inside that dress or whatever they're wearing, being happy. That's that's the sort of dream you're selling to somebody else through advertising. So if they're not happy, that's going to show, and you put that out, then nobody's going to buy it. It's quite simple.
It's as simple as that,
economics,
really, isn't it?
But yes,
Yeah, I mean,
confidence is the key, really.
you've actually shot a variety of things, a variety of people in different locations. Like we were talking about different shapes and sizes, I think that is happening a lot more in modelling now, where there isn't this trend where you have to be a certain height, you have to look a certain
And
way.
age as well. I mean, commercial modelling's moved on quite a bit for the last 10 years, because I think there's a stage where everybody's looking to like Paris Fashion Week, and everybody's going, oh, the next big thing who's 14 or 15, and that reflected in the industry over here where everybody's 17, 18, trying to be a model. And now there is that top 1% where that does happen, but in reality, in commercial models especially, that doesn't happen. Majority of commercial models are starting to be properly mature women or men, probably about 22, 25 up.
Yeah.
It's like the age is going up, even towards higher in the 20s now, commercial, because there's that mature look. And I think reality check now, people want to see people who are actually real.
That's it. I was
Not-
going to say that.
Not these
That's right.
size 0, which you don't see that. If you look around London one day, I would challenge anybody, go around London and look for a size 0.
Person.
You'll see 2 people.
Yeah,
You
it's
can
not
walk
the
around Oxford
majority.
Street all
The
day.
average UK size is about
Yes.
a size 14 to 16
Yeah.
now,
That's right.
which is absolutely shot up. Because
Yes.
when we think about, say, the
And I'm
19...
glad it has. I'm glad
Yeah.
for that, because, this uncalled for pressure, especially
is
on
pressure
the
as well, yeah.
younger, on the younger generation, they will look at social media and they will feel that pressure, and it doesn't matter what their even if they've got a very supporting community around them with their parents, school teachers, friends, they will still pay attention to that Instagram shot of a perfect body.
I mean, when we're talking about, say, plus size models, it's always been a no-no in the industry. You must not have anybody, say, above a size 10 on the catwalk, which is small, really. But we really need the big fashion houses. Someone has got to put their toe in the water first. Now, we actually could see that with Rihanna, because Rihanna's collection, and as I said before, we've got brands like Fendi and Christian Dior underneath her, or working alongside her as one of the subsidiaries. She has put on her catwalk plus size women. She's put lots of different diversities actually on the catwalk. And now if she's the first one to put her toe in the water, the others will feel safe enough to do the same. So we might see quite a different change on the catwalk, and that will then filter through into marketing, through into commercial, through into the high street. We're going to see that come through, and it will purely be who's going to be the first one to do it, stick their heads out and do it.
Well, I think she is quite brave, and she wants to be a little bit out there. I think she gets a bit of a kick from doing that, and I think great on her, because it's so refreshing to see different shapes and sizes. Going back, because we're wrapping up now, I think we've only got about 5 minutes of the programme. I mean, it's been great. I think we need to get you on every week. It's so wonderful, this conversation.
So much to talk about, isn't there?
There is. I do feel like, you know, women and men need to embrace all shapes and sizes. The fact that we are all unique is what makes us so wonderful, and to have that diversity seen in advertising now, like what you've experienced, seeing it on the catwalk and actually getting big names to collaborate and be behind that concept, I think is great. Because like you were saying, don't just go with the trends, actually embrace your own body shape, know what suits you, and then through that you will be on trend. People at a party will say, what's that outfit? Where'd you get that from? And you'll say, I've had this for years.
And it's a sort of responsibility when you've got that amount of millions of Instagram followers. You are a true influencer, and I think it's a sort of responsibility if you are going to do it properly. You know, there are so many influencers out of millions.
Rihanna, 70 million people to please.
I mean, that is a huge amount of, you know, saying what you can do.
So at the end of the day, it comes down to common sense. If you're in a business and you are in the fashion business, you want to sell clothes. Now, if you're selling clothes to only a very small percentage of women who can actually wear it, where are you making your money? If women are getting bigger and people do want to buy bigger sizes, isn't it common sense to make your clothes in the bigger sizes so that then your money comes in and your company will stay on the high street?
That's right. I think now they have realised that, and it is common sense. You know, if you want to sell your clothes, then you need to have lots of different sizes.
We've just got to knock through the top designers, because I think a lot of them are quite proud. Very proud people. They're very ingrained in the ways that they were taught to design clothes and things. And until you say to them, and you can knock through them and say, you have now got to start designing for a different shaped woman, they're the people that we've really got to get to.
Adapt and survive, basically.
Which is a real positive to end on, really, is, you know, embrace yourself, know who you are, whatever shape and size you are. We're all beautiful and we're wonderful, and we can achieve wonderful things. And obviously today the topic was very much fashion and the business of fashion, and hopefully we'll see a lot more high street shops still, you know, carrying on with their businesses. Obviously we're going to have the online, but maybe online social media will be a little bit more positive. It's been a real pleasure, Shane, Corinne, to have you on my programme today. That's it from us for today. That's it from the latest printed press. Until next week, we hope you have a very good evening. Thank you from Eurogenge TV.